Hola, Vincenzo.
Welcome back, Lali, to the Business of Speed podcast. How are you this fine morning?
I'm doing quite well. Actually, it snowed in Toronto over the weekend. Yeah, so that's something I've had to deal with. But other than that, doing quite well.
I'm looking forward to some snow. I know. Everyone's going, oh, I hate the snow. I want a little bit of snow. Just give me something. Give me that white covering, Christmas time. It's nice.
Snow's only good if you're on the mountain skiing or snowboarding. Other than that, in a city, I'm in a huge city. It's a disaster.
True. Today we have a special guest. I think I always say this. We always have a special guest. Everyone's special. We
We
have
don't bring on, just so our audience knows, we'll never bring someone who isn't special. We're always going to bring you people that we're very passionate about.
They're always special. I know. Today's guest, Jarno Zaffelli, is incredible track designer. So we actually already talked to him while I'm recording this, and I'm just thinking of the conversation. I'm saying to myself, wow, I felt like I just talked to an artist, an engineer, somebody who taught me about the Pope. Is that
A poet. He was
a poet? Yeah.
romantic with his choice of words, like just an extraordinary man for sure.
When we first got connected with Jarno to talk about track design, you don't know what to expect, and the conversation just flows so well. And then by the end, we're getting deep into life and love and passion and soul and sex, and it's an incredible conversation. And to me, one thing and I'll ask you the same question, but to me, the one thing that really stood out that I really took home and I enjoyed was he makes a comment about when you build a track, you can't just take the best pieces from other tracks around the world and throw them together, because it's much like saying, I want to build the perfect woman or man for myself. And you put that together and you put it up on a picture and it looks like AI. It's too perfect. There's no imperfect. It's just, it's almost, there's something wrong, right? And building tracks is very similar. And building, these, he's involved in the Madring. So building these circuits is very, I don't want to say specialized. It's not the right word, but it's dependent on the land that you're in, the people that are there. And, he even talks about how the track should speak to you. Anyway, this is a fantastic conversation. I want to hear, though, what was the one thing you took away from it?
My favorite part, I guess, is I have a really big passion and admiration for people who are doers, who don't take no for an answer, who if they don't know how to do it, figure it out. So
Yeah.
he actually started building the track in his home track. He'd never built a track. He finished his engineering degree. We didn't touch on it during the interview because we ran out of time, but he was a photographer. And then all of a sudden he's building a racetrack.
Yeah.
And he just did it. And I love...
You can just do things.
You can just do the thing. And I really am passionate about people who just are doers, who create, who have that type of mentality. So that was my favorite part, I think, just knowing that he just went and built a track with zero experience.
Enough from us. Jarno Zaffelli, fantastic conversation. I know you'll enjoy. Lali, buongiorno. How are you?
Hola, Vincenzo. How are you?
I'm very good. We have a special guest with us today.
We do
Jarno
indeed.
Zaffelli, who his name is pretty well renowned in the circuit business. And I'm proud to have him on the show. Jarno, buongiorno. How are you?
Buongiorno, everybody. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Where are you today?
In this moment, I'm in Hungary, in Budapest, for the Formula One circuit. We are actually doing some works on the track of maintenance.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a pretty cool job.
Yeah, well, we are doing this since 25 years ago. And we, of course, pushed a lot to find something that was interesting and also difficult to do and challenging. So here is where we are here with the team and all my company.
Very nice.
I want to ask a little bit about...
Go ahead, Lali.
Yeah, I have a question that you've probably answered a million times, but I'm very curious. So my origin is Danish, so I know a little bit about Scandinavia. So I know the name Jarno is definitely Finnish. It's not Italian. So I want to know if there's a Jarno Saarinen connection, if your parents are motorcycle fans. Did you grow up near Milano or Monza? Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up with the name Jarno?
Well, I ended up exactly for that reason, Lali. Basically, I born in 76. Jarno Saarinen died, unfortunately, in 73. And the fact is that they're calling me from the workshop. So, and the basic is that my parents were passionate about motorcycling, but they were supporter of Giacomo Agostini. But they didn't like the name Giacomo. They would like to give me a name that was different than the others. And they decided for Jarno if I was a boy, and Soili if I was a girl, because Soili was the wife of Jarno. And well, I born a boy. And so here I am. And I have to say that my name is definitely mainly the main reason why we are here talking today, because of course it opened up a few doors since the beginning, because of course having a name that is coming from Saarinen was giving a hint that the family was already connected to the motorsport and so on, you know. So yeah,
So you,
I'm proud to have this name and
yeah.
trying to live in that name.
And so you grew up a big fan of motorcycle racing. That was your first love in motorsport?
Well, it is difficult to say it was the first love in motorsport, because the first love, I guess, it was Formula One. But definitely, motorcycling was the place where I trained the most myself, riding bikes and working immediately since 2003, 4, also on MotoGP trucks. So I started mainly in motorcycling because of two reasons. The first one is that the market was basically a monopoly of one of our competitors in Formula One, and in MotoGP there was much more thought and attention to details, and especially on the asphalt quality, bumpiness, and so on, and safety. So basically, I started there for this reason, professionally. On a passion level, Formula One was the first.
Nice.
So you how did you, what made you want to get into track design though? Like, you know, you love the sport. I love the sport. I didn't become a track designer. What made you want to take that path?
Okay, it was 1990, and basically I was going at university. I was not looking at myself. I was a very, very strong IT technician. If you now have an Apple, an iPhone, or something, there are codes, lines of codes that were written by me. At the time, even if I was very young, I was certified by Apple. But the fact is that I was not looking at myself completing the study of engineering, nor being at 40 years old an expert IT technician. So for a couple of years, in 98 and 1999, I was really struggling to see myself somewhere at 40. And I was looking for something that was not definitely motorsport. I was very open in this. I was trying to find something that was challenging enough to keep myself interested for the time being. And it happened that end of 1999, I had two friends coming back from a racetrack, doing a track day with bikes. And we were saying, well, if we would have a racetrack in our hometown, it would be always full. Because I'm coming from Reggio Emilia, that is in the center of Motor Valley, northern part of Italy, 15 minutes from Maranello, Ferrari, and well, all the other brands of supercars. So Ducati as well. So the basic is that in January 2000, I started to think, okay, racetrack, few designers, difficult to do, lot of different aspects, engineering, civil, chemistry, biology, project management, really hard stuff. Let's do that. So I started without having no knowledge in racetrack design at all, but with a very strong IT background and technical. I'm an industrial engineer without a degree. And I left the university stating once I will have engineers and architects working for me instead of wasting my time to try to be an architect and engineer. And I simply tried to build the track in my hometown for 7 long years. And I didn't succeed. I didn't. But then all the other racetracks started to ask me to share my experience in 2008, because I traveled all the world for 7 years doing designs and trying to learn from the other circuits why they were built like that, which were the choices, why the corner was like that, how they were doing the safety, and trying to fill the gap with the knowledge and my work.
There's that thing, have you heard it? Fake it till you make it.
Fake it until you make it. No, I never actually heard about it, but I can reckon that a lot of people in the business actually do like that.
Mm.
But I don't feel it mine, because when I'm doing something, I'm always very serious. So what is happening is that I never, and this is continuing nowadays, I never go to find a client or a new project trying to fake it, but trying to simply to say, okay, I know that much and I know how much I'm missing. I'm not going to tell you that we will succeed, but I will try as hard as I can. And I know what I need to do to arrive there. So, sorry, my approach is always very, very, very technical and scientific. I'm always start from the point that if someone did something in the past, I can achieve it. And I can teach someone how to achieve it. That's why we are at the peak of the technology in racetrack design, like we are in this moment. We have technical capabilities that no one else has. We have softwares, we have techniques that no one is using, and it's the reason why we have long-standing relationship. We have clients in Formula One that, and not only manufacturing and so on, that are with us since 10, 15 years and running. And they're calling us every time to fix also when they cannot find solutions. We are very different in respect of the other competitors of ours because our history is different. We are not starting from architecture or engineering. We are starting from the manufacturing of the truck itself. So we simply apply our problem solving skill set to solve the issues that you have there. We do not like to design something and say, okay, there's someone else will engineer it. We try to follow from the beginning to the end or the process.
For the people who don't know that process, can
Mm.
you highlight the big key milestones that take place? If I approach you today and I have this plot of land and I want a racetrack built, how long is that process? How much money would be involved? And what are sort of the key milestones along the way? Very broad, obviously, Jarno.
Okay, so let's say that Lali would like to build a track. You
Of
have a
course you would.
land. You have a land. You want to do a permanent track, not a street circuit. If you want to do a permanent track, the first thing that we need to understand is to do what. You would like to do a club. You would like to do a racetrack for yourself. You would like to do it for your friends. You would like to do racing. Or you would like to do only to do track days. Or you would like to do it to test a car that you are manufacturing and you would like to have a proving ground. Once you know what you want to do, we can tell you if the land is enough, if the land is suitable, if you can get the permission in that land, if you have the budget, because the budget is really depending on which one it is. And we can start together a process. And the process is starting understanding where you want to go. It's like a journey, you know. It's like when you were 15 or 16 that you were looking at yourself at 25 where I want to go. Is like when you start, you want to go on holiday. Okay, maybe you don't know the path that you will go, that you will do to arrive there, but you know that you want to go to the Maldives, but you don't know the airline yet. So basically, you're coming to us asking, saying, okay, I want to go to Maldives, which airline I should take, or if I need to run, boat, or something, and the budget will change. But that's it.
Do you, cost of track is very different. And Lali and I were talking yesterday a little bit about currently we see a lot of street circuits is right now what is happening, especially in Formula One. And you're working. We'll talk a little bit about Madrid in a second. Do you think? Why do you think it is that we're moving further away from purpose-built tracks, at least in racing?
It's not a general tendency in racing. It's a specific tendency in Formula One. It's a simple reason. If you run a business like Formula One, it is much better to bring your show to the masses rather than having the masses that are coming to your place. So
Sure.
street circuit are a perfect reason, of course, to put your city on the map. So if Vincenzo is the mayor of a certain city, can say, okay, I would like the people to come and visit and to know my city. I show them and I give them an excuse to come to my place. And Lali, that is the CEO of Formula One, is just going to Vincenzo and stating, okay, you can come to me. I can just bring you Formula One if we agree on the terms, and it's a win-win situation. On a permanent racetrack is different because a permanent racetrack normally is not funded. Well, for Formula One, yes, but normally is a private track, need a lot of subsidies from the public to be able to sustain a business like Formula One. And basically, a permanent track can live also without Formula One. Therefore, it's not necessary for a permanent track to have Formula One, but it's necessary for Formula One to have a track. And Formula One, of course, would have a better result in image, in rights, in broadcasting, in advertising, if they have a street circuit rather than a permanent one. So in general racing, if you think about it, all the racing, World Superbike, MotoGP, if you're going in others, WEC, GT cars are always in permanent circuits. In US, IndyCar is going in street circuit. Formula E is going in street circuit, but again, for different reasons, and mainly because they're trying to bring the show to the masses rather than the opposite.
What about the nightmare situation? When someone comes to you, which one typically has more stress points for you, creating a temporary street course or a permanent road course?
For a lot of reasons, it's much more complicated a street circuit in a European country, specific in a European country. The reason is, I can talk about some genesis like in Singapore, for example. If you're going in Singapore, the roads are naturally already big. So you can find a road that is already big enough to host what Formula One and FIA requires. If you're going in a European city that is, of course, older than all the rest, vast majority of the world, it is much more difficult to find a road, a street that is not narrow too much. So the case of Madrid, for example, the nightmare is coming from the amount of layering of all the participants to the decision process. When you're going in a street circuit, you have a lot of different agencies that are going in. And if you're going in Europe, you have even more than if you are in US or in Saudi or in Asia, because it's a different way of having rights, it's a different way of, well, history level that piled up bureaucracy in a lot of ways. I can tell you that in Madrid, we had more than 55 different agencies involved in the authorization process called the Licencia Omnibus. And it was a nightmare. Of course, a nightmare from a designer perspective and on a perspective of the one that is doing all this process. You can think only about when we received the how you call it, prescription, I guess, on the design, on the first iteration of the design. It was 2023. The document was like 60 pages of things. And the problem is that some are not in agreement with others. So you try to fulfill one requirement and you cannot fulfill others. So it was a very hard job that was over the 24th of April of this year, achieving all the licensing and authorization to build, construct, and so on. And of course, it's an ongoing process. Now it will be.
Now, in that process, you said there was over 55 parties involved.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who has more influence than others in that case? Madrid's case, FIA, promoter, government. Who was there one party that has more of a say?
Definitely in that stage was not FIA or Formula One, because we were starting with a concept that was developed in 2023. And that the concept was the one on which Formula One and Madrid approved, okay, in principle, we are going that. But then we redid the design completely because the design was to be buildable and to be approvable. Therefore, we started in end of June last year we started a long process where the 55 entities came in without having Formula One and FIA involved, because that was more local authorization process. On the basis that we are the designer that are bringing the FIA and Formula One capability and knowledge, until there is an approval in principle, we are not going back again to FIA and F1 to ask for the approval of the modification of the concept. Therefore, the 55 were, for example, the municipality, the community, and then you have the water district, you have the people that are looking out of the sewage, electricity. You don't have only one supplier, and you're crossing a road that is just having 5 different suppliers. You have telecoms, you have the airport is very near, so you're looking at the height of your cranes during the construction. I will have the helicopters that will need to land there during the operation. Therefore, you understand. I'm not going to bother you on all these details, but it's all thinking at the event since the beginning and trying to fit all the requirements of everyone. Then are coming, of course, the neighbors, are coming the protection of animals, all this kind of stuff. All together in a big process that in Europe is always very, very, very complex, in Italy as well. But Madrid was strong enough to be the first capital in Europe that can have, in the old Europe, that can have a Formula One event in its town.
What are you most excited about for let's talk about Madring for a second. What features of the circuit are you most excited for? Tell us, what should we look forward to watching it?
Well, the most exciting for me is definitely the hypertrack section that is in the north. Basically, the part where we are trying to get back bankings like we did in Zandvoort. Unfortunately, for new regulation in 2026, we had to reduce it a bit in respect of what we would like to do in the beginning. But definitely, we are looking a lot on the dynamic of that section where we are going down 7 meters and then we are banking on 25% and then going down again 7 meters and up 10 meters. So there are a lot of changes of an elevation in the corner that is dubbed La Monumental. And this is the main part that from my side is, let's say the signature of the track itself. But in general terms, I guess that the feeling will be given by all the public and all the organization of the race there. Spanish are very good in doing all this kind of stuff. And they are planning to fill, to fill the space and to have the feeling of the people, and especially Spanish are very hot on this. And I really look forward to see everything there. On the track itself, the good part is that is a real street circuit in some section and is a real permanent circuit on the northern part. So it's just a bit of everything. You need to understand that as a designer, you will see the northern part that is called Valdebebas, that it seems a track that is a bit odd because we had a very big area. And why? So we constrain the track in a specific zone. And the reason is basically that you don't see it, but there we were working with virtual pavilions because IFEMA is going to expand the plot there with pavilions. So we were already future-proofing the design. So if Lali is coming to us and she wants to build a track, she is going to tell us, okay, but tomorrow in my land, I would like to build a house there. And we need to design it in the beginning.
It's going to be a
so
big
we
house.
can design it. Yes, a very big one, single floor, swimming pool, all this kind of stuff. Danish style. Yeah, I get it.
You already know her.
Well, this, I guess, was just to know each other, isn't it?
Of course, of course.
So I do have a question that is just funny. When you finish a track, whether it's a street course or a permanent course, do you get behind a really nice car and do some hot laps to test it out yourself?
Yes, normally we do it as a part, is part of the process in the construction. So actually we are doing it every layer of asphalt that we do. We use lasers, we use technologies, but we use also cars. For example, when we redid Silverstone, Silverstone was giving us an Aston Martin, a Vantage DB8 that we were using there. In other circuit like Nogaro, we used Porsche GT3. Depending, we used also Lambo. In the last track that we did for Ferrari, Ferrari was coming, bringing us SF90 or LaFerrari or things like that. Because when you're doing it, you need to feel it with the cars that you are going to use. Of course, we cannot use a Formula One. For that, there are simulation and technologies, and we're using drivers like Carlos Sainz to test it, or the test driver in the teams that are testing the geometries. The difficult part of our job is that you cannot test it with a Formula One until a Formula One is there. So you need to be sure that you're doing a good job of Formula One. And sometimes, shit happens, but it always happens when you are trying to do something, even if you're trying to do your best, mistake happens. It's a really complex task where it's not only me, it's not only my team, a lot of people that are working in this moment. You need to consider that the supervision in Madring was about 55 people already back in June, thinking about the construction only on the track and the pit building and all this kind of stuff. A total of more than 1,000 will work on that. We worked in worksite where we had at times 9,000 people working. So it is extremely challenging and difficult, but that's why I thought it was fun to do it when I was over 40, when I was 18.
Well, if you had, this is another kind of fun question, but if you had to build a track, money was no object, permits were no object, dream location for you, where would you build a track?
Dream location for me, Hawaii in the middle of a volcano.
Oh, wow.
Like you're
Yeah,
gonna do a Hot Wheels, little
trust me.
Hot Wheels action.
Yes, or in Iceland, in the middle of the volcanoes. I mean, that would be if I could, my
So
favorite location.
given that the three of us will be at the first ever circuit awards that are happening in February in Lusail, this has never happened before. The first time tracks will get recognized and awarded. It would be a sin not to ask you of the tracks you've never touched, you've never worked on, just dream tracks around the world, which is your absolute favorite in terms of
Suzuka.
No, well, you can't say Suzuka. I knew you were going to say that, so you can't say Suzuka.
Why?
Because you already, I know you like Suzuka, so not Suzuka.
Okay, not Suzuka, no, that I never worked on.
Yeah.
No, that I never worked on.
Maybe in the US, a track in the US?
If I'm talking about US, sorry, I have a couple that I really would like to. Mont Tremblant and Sebring.
Mm.
For two different reasons. Because we did our main skill set. We built our skill set on an idea on analyzing bumps. And Sebring is just putting bumps as their own proud. And Mont Tremblant because how it is, the track itself. So yeah, I guess probably I would love to go in Sebring once, not to fix it, but just to study it, to learn something from how they use it, how the different philosophy they have. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I would highlight Sebring.
I love that. That's a very different answer.
Because you said Suzuka so quickly, I want to let you explain, why do you love Suzuka so much?
Simple is the first track that was built by a real designer, John Huguenot. So it's the real first permanent track that was designed only to have fun in mind. And is basically, it lasted for a very, very long time. You need to remember that the design was 1962 and it's still there with his own features. And you need to understand that I had a connection with John Huguenot, a very strong one, because when I was called to do Zandvoort, and we did it. And my favorite corner that is the number 3. 3 is called after John Huguenot. And his son, John Huguenot Jr., was kind enough to share all the expertise and the manuals and the drawings and the memorabilia of his father with me. And that are now part of our expertise, know-how, and so on. And my favorite Suzuka was also before, because his design, if you're going there, you can feel that that place is speaking, is talking to you, is telling you something. If you are in real estate and you are going to look at a house, you enter in a house, can be a really fancy and pricey house and not giving you a feeling. So the difficulty of a designer, of an architect, is just giving a soul at something that is building from the scratch, or that, even worse, is touching like a plastic surgeon, and to give back or empower the peculiarities of the people, of the person that you're working on. This is the most difficult part of our job, like we intend to. So if you're going in Suzuka, you have a truck that is talking, is telling you something. If you're going to a modern truck, many times you cannot feel it, you cannot hear it. You are simply on a cathedral, very well built, nicely done, incredibly expensive, but it's not talking to you, at least not talking to me. And so when we did Zandvoort, when we did Madring, the design and so on, the difficult part is to try to give this feeling to the drivers, to the people that are going there, bystanders, everyone involved. Is the difference between the designer, is the difference between the creation, is the difference between women and men. Because women can create and can give this, can give life. Men cannot, apart from the first 5 seconds, you know. But apart from that 5 seconds, men, in my case, yes, exactly. We are useless. Yeah, we are indeed. Well, less useful than women,
Much less
definitely on
useful.
this.
That's right.
Much less. But we have, of course, I have 2 daughters, and I have to say that we can have an influence, a feeling, something. But definitely creating something like an architecture or a racetrack, and trying to give that you can naturally give to life as a woman, and from our side trying to give it as a man that is just building something artificial, is what we are trying to do. And I guess that is the ultimate target that we need to aspire to as men.
Well, you've
So
done a good job at being the king of soul on track. So
Yes.
well done.
well, blending. I think
Thanks,
what
trying to.
I'm hearing. What I hear is the very precise balance between science and art, right? And that's what you're creating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, is what not what I'm creating, what we are trying to create.
Trying to create,
Then
right?
if we
Yeah.
are creating, is for someone else to say. It's like, this coming back to racetrack design. If Lali was coming to me and asking, look, Jarno, I love this corner in Sebring, I love this corner to Suzuka, I was like, and I want these corners in my truck. I was going to tell you, okay, change the designer. We are not the right guys.
Hmm.
For a simple reason. If you can, in your dream, to think about the nicest hands that you can see from a lady, the nicest eyes, the nicest nose, and so on, and you try to collate it all together, it will maybe become something like an AI drawing. Okay? Be as nice as the lack of perfection is. The beauty for the humans are done, especially in these defects, in these things that are giving you a different perception of the people, of the, well, I'm just going sideways, but it's just to explain that a perfect truck, perfectly built, not necessarily is very beautiful. Quite the contrary. So
I,
we try to
you make
engineer
And also a little
this.
boring. A little boring, I'll be honest. Those super perfect tracks.
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, 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 yes,
but
yes.
you
So,
make
Lali,
track
do you have
design
experience in
like
driving?
love.
I
Yeah.
am a very good driver.
I
I've
didn't
done,
know that.
I
What
mean Ferrari
you
track.
said. Okay.
Well, what do you consider good? I've done Ferrari track days. I go, maybe once or twice a year to a karting track, but I'm not a professional.
Okay, no. A karting, for example, to me, a good driver is a good karting driver, not the rest. If he's doing kartings, anyone doing kart is already understanding that the fun is there. And so I'm fine with that. So you are
There you
saying,
go.
Vincenzo, sorry? You're asking me?
No, I was saying
Oh,
you make track design sound like love and passion, which I believe is the
yeah,
goal. It sounds like that is your thesis, which is beautiful. Maybe next time we have you on
yeah,
the show, we could talk about how track design is like love.
I was thinking the
yeah,
same, Vincenzo.
absolutely. Absolutely. I guess it's,
There's too much we can't cover today, so we need to have you.
We need to have him back.
I guess is love and passion in your life. So basically, if you have it in your life, you're trying to apply it everywhere and in our work as well. So it's not something that we do only in our job. We're doing always. So we are as we are. I'm myself with you in this moment. I'm not changing if you are coming to with us in the work site tomorrow, or you will see me in Qatar. I will be exactly the same. So I like to be the way we are.
Last question. If there's one thing you want to be known for at the end of your life, what do you want to be known for?
Difficult to say. Not the one to build the most, but the one that build the best. And with best, everyone has his own interpretation. So to me, the challenge is with myself and how we can, with my team, to build always something that is better than the previous that we did. So really, we don't feel the competition with the others. We feel just we feel the competition with ourselves and what we can and how we can push the limit, the boundaries of the physics to give, well, to build love and passion into what we are building in this moment. So
That's
this is
beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you for taking your time this morning, well, our morning, but you're in the afternoon, and talking to us. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
We're excited to see you in Lusail next year, early next year. Yeah. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, we will.
Lali, I think we have a new perspective on how track design is done, and the mentality. You know, it's not just engineering. It's a balance. It's a blend of science, art, passion.
Passion.
You don't think about it when you look
Vincenzo,
at asphalt.
Vincenzo, I guess that you're coming from Italy at the name and the surname. The fact is that Italians are artisans.
Of course.
We have small companies, very, very, very specialized, few numbers, like a boutique design firm.
Mhm.
So the basic is that we grew like this. We go by night harvesting olives to do the best olive oil that you can do in the world. We are building, wood things with crafts that no one else has, ceramics. We are famous for these kind of things. Not different. Simply another place where we are doing it.
Another craft.
Bringing Italian design everywhere. Yeah, another craft. Correct.
In Spanish,
same passion, same.
How do you say it in Italian? Things that you make by hand are artesanías.
Artigianali. So yeah, it's just trying because we have the. Why? Because Italians normally do not work very well in teams. They have peculiar people. Yeah. Anglo-Saxon are working much better in team, you know. We are building in this way because we need to be few, very specialized. And what we are trying to do is applying the same principle, but improving our teamwork skill set in respect of a regular company in this field.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You.
And we'll see you.
Definitely. See you there, guys.
Ciao.